I can't imagine the pain, the grief of losing a child. For one airline pilot and designated pilot examiner, he did my check ride for my commercial. Joey Johnson is doing something amazing with a tragic story. Let's hear what he has to say.
So I was in Atlanta on a layover that day, and I had gotten up and had breakfast, at the hotel. And I came back to the room, was just sitting watching TV. We had an afternoon flight, and I got a phone call from one of his friends stating that she had gotten a weird phone call from one of his other friends, and she was concerned about his well-being and should she go check on him. And I said, well, of course, go check on him. And she called me back a bit later, hysterical, that he was gone. And so I had to go get on an airplane, naturally, and travel home. I called the crew chief on duty and said, I'm not gonna make my flight tonight, and I need to be on the next flight back to Dallas. So I called I guess if there's anything that's enlightening about this, is I called the Uber, and when the lady showed up, I knew it was a 35-minute ride to the airport, and the flight left in 20. So I pulled up the captain's name and number ahead of time and texted him, and I said, my son just shot himself. I need to be on that flight. And he texted me back and he said, we won't leave without you. And then I told the Uber driver, I said, there's a $100 tip in this if you can get me to the airport in 20 minutes. And surprisingly, she did. And how I survived that ride, I don't know, but we made it there. About a week later, we were finally able to have the visitation, and it was only supposed to take roughly 2 hours. And that's the amount of time that they allotted. It started pouring down rain right as the visitation began, and there was nearly 700 people showed up that night. We had no idea that many people would show up. And it took till nearly 11 o'clock that night to meet and greet everyone that came through for the visitation. While we were there, we were talking about what we could do to honor his memory, and that's when we decided we would start a scholarship for veterans that want to learn to fly. We were trying to come up with a name, and I thought, well, he liked to fly and he liked to dance, and we were just tossing names around, and that's how Clouddancer came to the surface. And it was only because I had seen a movie years ago named Clouddancer, and I thought, well, that's perfect. He loved to fly and he loved to dance, so Clouddancer works great. After we got the wheels rolling, well, then the ideas started flowing in on how to keep it going. And it was actually one of our board members, Andrea Skill at the time, said, oh, we should host a gala each year and make it like a black tie affair. And people buy a place, a seat or a plate, if you will, kind of like your politicians do with their fundraising. And so we thought, oh, that's a great idea. So the first year we did the black tie gala, and that's where I met a lot of you. I was at that very first gala, and or through flight training. And so that actually did phenomenally well. We were quite surprised that we pulled in $60-something thousand in one night in just about 3 or 4 hours. Like, well, if we can keep doing this thing can be really, really good. And then as the next year rolled around and we started looking for ideas, then the cowboy theme came into play. And then that's when we dove off into the black tie and boots piece of it, because we wanted to make everyone feel welcome, but not only welcome, but comfortable. And formal black tie was not something in Fort Worth that's necessarily comfortable for most.
That's a Dallas thing.
That's a Dallas thing, yeah. So the Texas tuxedo was, hey, black tie and boots. If you want to come in a tuxedo, that's fine, but if you want to wear your jeans, boots, and your cowboy hat, then we welcome you.
I didn't see one tuxedo last year.
No, there were no tuxedos last year.
We're still letting Ashton's dream continue. That's it's probably one of your huge reasons why you want people to go, but that's one of the big reasons why I still contribute and want to continue to contribute to the scholarship.
Echoing on that, every year it's gotten bigger and bigger as we've given out more scholarships, as we've just continued his legacy. and to see how far other people have come that we've helped in the years past and see where they're at the next year, that's probably the coolest thing, to see us actually like helping people achieve
Making
their
a
goals.
difference for sure.
Absolutely.
This is the most dedicated group, and we're all volunteers. And, you know, from tragedy, not often do you get such an organization with such momentum, and it's only gotten better and better. And the people are just so wonderful that it's such a joy to show up. And at the gala especially, I'm a big foodie, so thank goodness you're here, Gator. So it's just such a wonderful evening of food and dance and good times.
I only recently became a volunteer this year, but I really joined because I also thought it was for a really good cause. And joining this nonprofit organization, I also found a really good community to get involved with as well. I've made some friends that I can go to a bunch of events to as well, and I really enjoyed getting to know you and becoming a part of the family.
Well,
Exactly.
I just remember it being a great party, and the food was really good, and everybody really did show up in black tie and boots. I mean, it was, that was quintessential Fort Worth. That was Texas all the way.
It was all the way.
And we had a good time. That was my first time last year. And I actually have some really good friends that I made there that we still hang out with today that convinced me to buy that car out there, in fact.
Right.
And I always enjoy, especially at galas like this, you know, hearing the vets' stories. And there's some really, you know, a lot of it's very intense and people are crying, but for the most part the stories are real beautiful, and we did have some good dancing, and then we went to PRs afterwards
we
to
went
go
to
see
PRs
Harold
afterwards,
too.
yeah.
Some people didn't make it, but some of us did, and it really is a good party, man. I mean, and I would know.
It's a good
So
time.
we had a good time.
You know, this scholarship is not just handouts with no accountability. Joey has built a system that builds responsibility with the recipients. It's amazing.
So then how does this scholarship help those coming out of the military?
So once they get out, if this is what the field that they choose to enter into, regardless of whether they're in a Part 61 school or Part 141 school, if they apply for the scholarship and they meet our criteria and are selected, then what we do is we set gates for them, if you will, that they have to attain in order to get the money. So we don't just hand them, much like I was working with my son, I made him earn the free use of the airplane. I was like, well, you got to pay for the instructor. That way he had some skin in the game. So in order for them to feel like it wasn't just a government handout, we put these gates in place and we say, you have to accomplish this, and we'll give you X amount of dollars. Each allotment of money that we give them is enough that they should make it to the next gate if they are applying themselves. Okay, now it's not to say everyone's going to have the same skill sets, the same luck, the same set of circumstances. So when you're upon selection, we give you $3,000, and if you take the average flight school, let's say the instructor plus the airplane, worst case scenario, $300 an hour. Now that's going to be an expensive flight school, but they're out there, okay? And then you got the mom and pops that might be $150 an hour for the airplane and say $50 an hour for the instructor. So they're running $200. So we took the $250 as an average and then bumped it a little bit, and we said, okay, the average person properly trained should be able to solo in about 10 hours. So upon selection and completion of the written, we give them $3,000 and go, here, go solo, is what we're trying to get them to. Even if they don't solo in 10 hours, we've got them a good bit of the ways there, so they put their little bit of money with it, and maybe they make that gate, right? Once they make that gate, then we give them the next tranche of money, which is another $3,000. And what we're trying to do there is get them to the next stage in their training, which is cross country. So we figure if they get 10 hours of dual training, at the worst case scenario, $300 an hour, that'd be $3,000. They get 10 hours of this training preparation for solo cross country. And hopefully they meet that, in that 10 hour. Now, I'm not saying everyone will do it in 10. Some people don't learn as fast as others. Some people will do it in less than that. But as an average, 10 hours. So now we're at roughly 20 hours total. We're halfway to the private pilot. and we've spent a little over half of our money. And once they get that sign off to do their solo cross country, then we give them $2,000. The understanding there is you're renting an airplane that's $200 an hour, that's 10 more hours. You only need 5 hours of solo cross country, but you gotta have 10 hours of solo. So what we do is we give you enough to fly 10 hours solo time, and hopefully 5 of that will be cross country. Once you complete that, now you're starting to prepare for your check ride. And so we give them the last piece of it, their last $2,000 to get them across the finish line. And that can be 10 more hours of solo, or it could be so many hours of dual, 5 to 7 hours of dual in preparation for the check ride in order to get them across that gate. And then once they complete that, now they're eligible for their GI Bill to start paying. And that's what the scholarship accomplishes. And of course, each year we invite them to the Gala because we want to see this progress, and we want them to come and share that progress with us so that we know where our recipients stand in that respect.
In a very short amount of time, the Clouddancer Scholarship is already up and running and impacting those people coming out of the military wanting to become professional pilots. 20 scholarships so far and counting. Let's go talk to a recipient.
The United States Marine Corps is my chosen branch. Hoorah, Semper Fi. I am in the reserves now. I just hit my 12th year. I'm selected for the rank of Gunnery Sergeant E7. I'm a staff sergeant right now. I have always wanted to be a pilot since I was very, very small. My grandfather was a pilot. All 7 of his brothers were pilots. Then it skipped a generation. I was supposed to be an accountant, but here I am, a pilot. Flight training is extremely expensive, potentially inhibitive for the majority of us. The number one that everybody knows is the GI Bill, right? The GI Bill isn't great for paying for flight school. Unlike going to college, which would pay for the entirety of your semester, essentially all your books, your housing, the GI Bill only pays for roughly $15,000 of that per year. And so you're burning the same amount of benefits without receiving the same amount of benefits. 2 years ago, when I was going through my training, I applied for the scholarship, and it actually turns out that the DP for my commercial check ride was Mr. Johnson. And so when he heard that I was taking my commercial check ride at the same time that the scholarship winners had been announced, he was somewhat upset with me because he thought, well, didn't anybody tell you this is for private pilots? And then after speaking with him for some amount of time, he realized that, oh, you actually did win this as a private pilot. You just progressed faster than everybody else, so congratulations. And then he went and did my commercial check ride, and I passed.
If someone wants to participate or help in the scholarship, what would they need to do?
So on our website, we actually have a volunteers tab, and you can go and click on that link and enter your information, your contact information. And currently, we have 2 operations. We have a crawfish cookout, and we have our black tie and boots gala each year. And you can sign up to participate in either one. Once we have your contact information, we'll reach out to you and say, okay, what is it you bring that you want to try to contribute? Because typically when someone offers up their services, they have something there, some goods on the table, if you will. Well, I'm a good handyman, or I'm a good AV person, or I'm a good social media person, or I'm a good hunter-gatherer. I can go out and get you donations, that type stuff. Or I'm a good spokesperson, whatever it may be, we'll find whatever asset that you bring to the table, and we'll put that to good use at the scholarship. And that's what we've been so fortunate, is we've gotten a well-rounded set of assets come in as volunteers. So we have people that can only work on the day of. They can't, contribute throughout the year, or maybe they only want to help one time. And so we refer to them as our day of volunteers. And those are our load-bearing people. We really, really need the day of volunteers because they help us unload everything, set up everything, and then at the end of the night, they help us take it all down and put it all away. So, and then throughout the course of the year, we have our committee members and our board and stuff like that. So if you're interested in any of those positions, then of course, go to our website, click on the link, and send us your contact info. We're happy to help you help us, if you will. Just purchasing a ticket helps us, that helps pay for the event, and it also puts a little bit of money in our coffers. And you don't have to do any work. A straight donation helps as well. I always said $1 today is $1 more than I had yesterday. So any contribution, no matter how large or how small, has always been helpful. And then of course we have our sponsors. Our sponsors are people that donate these items, as well as the people who buy sponsorships for the gala to help support the gala. So, and we have different levels that start as low as $5,000 and go all the way as high as $50,000 if you so choose, you know.
Just sharing the word about the gala. If you can't be there in person, if you can't be there to volunteer or, you know, participate, if you know who we are, what we are, sharing the word, getting it out to people, whether it's people that might want to purchase something in the auction, or if they know someone who might be a like a scholarship recipient type.
Yeah, absolutely. So networking is key to making this thing continue to move forward.
As you heard, there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved. And one of the most important is to buy a ticket to the gala in Fort Worth on October the 4th. It's at the Stockyards, and it's a lot of fun. So check out the website, got links in the description below, plus right here on the screen. Get involved, help these soldiers, our military, transition to a fulfilling job and bridge that gap in the funding between the GI Bill and what they have to do personally. We can make a difference in people's lives.